friends, this is the Mrs. Wolfie from our half-acre homestead. It's February 9th and it's a little early, but I'd rather be a little early, my plants be a little big than too small. I'm going to start some seeds today. The ones that need to be started in advance are, for me this year, are celery, onions, tomato, and cabbage. And I thought I saved all my seed trays from last year and put them in the attic, but apparently they got thrown out. So I wasn't going to go and buy seed trays with the seed cells in them because I don't use the seed cells, I'm using soil blocks. So I went to the old dollar store and I got these, they're like a tray for veggie dip or whatever that you want to take, and they have a little lid. Now this lid sits on top of the soil blocks, but that's not an issue because as soon as your plants start to grow, you take this off or they will get moldy. Alright? So they only need to be covered, for that matter it could be newspaper. They only need to be covered long enough to sprout, to keep the blocks moist enough until they sprout. So my first plant that I'm going to do today is tomatoes. Now I have two kinds, and well, that might be a little bit too much soil. I have two kinds of tomatoes that I want to plant, and so this tray will hold 20 of my 2-inch soil blocks, and it's perfect because this is round, and then my soil blocker is round too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 10 of one kind of tomato and 10 of another, and I'm just going to put a piece of paper in between, because a piece of paper, you can wind it around a couple of soil blocks to make it fit. Alright, so I'm going to finish making these soil blocks and we'll be right back. Alright, we're going to start off with our tomatoes, and I have three kinds. This is my binder, my seed binder. I had to buy a bigger one. At the end of the year, any seeds I have left over, or any seeds that I will save, I will vacuum seal and put in the label and put in these pockets. And I'll be ready for next year. Now as you can see, I didn't put the full 20 in here, I only put 18 because it made it easier to divide. And all we're going to do is, we're going to start, now these are moist blocks, and I'm going to use more Roma tomato because they're better for canning, they're less water, more meat. So I'm going to do 9 of those, and then I'm going to divide the other 9 between these ox heart tomatoes and these striped stuffers. Alright, so let's start with our Roma tomatoes. Now your soil blocks are already moist, and I'm just going to drop, actually these holes may be a little deep, but I'm just going to drop a little bit of extra soil in these holes here, so that we don't want the seed to go too deep. And when it comes time to put these in their hangers, I'll show you how I do that. It's an awkward bloody business, and you need someone who's really strong, like my husband, to lift them, to hang them, because you have to pack them full of soil, and you need a good quality soil such as this, which is it's a blend of potting mix, vermiculite, peat moss, bone and blood meal, and eggshell, and all these things. For the simple reason is that it's got to get its nutrients from the soil, and you really want a good nutritional base for your plants to live on. Otherwise, if they don't have enough calcium, they're going to get blossom end rot. Did I get all of those out of there? No, I didn't. Good. Because I thought, geez, that was a skimpy amount of seeds. There we go. We just want a couple in each one, and then when it comes time, we'll weed out the nicest ones. And then we're just going to take a little bit of our potting soil mix and just sprinkle it lightly over top. You don't really want to pack it down because it's got to fight its way through that soil to get up, right? So here's my little toothpick flag with a label on it that says Roma Tomatoes. And then we're going to start on our ox heart and our stuffer tomatoes. So let's get on that. I'll be back. I got to put a little bit more soil in these holes. I'll be back when these are ready. All right, I've got our Romas, I got our striped stuffers, and now we're just going to do 5 ox heart. There, we just want a little divider so that we know what we're doing. We're just gonna, come on out of there, guys. There we go. Just a couple of seeds, 2 or 3, just to make sure you're gonna have at least 1 germinate. And we'll just put a little bit of soil on top of these, put them to bed, so to speak. I just realized my lid won't go on with these toothpick flags in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay the flag down inside the sections. These are our ox hearts, so that when it comes time to take the lids off, I'll be able to stand them up. Alrighty, and we'll give those a light water. They really don't need a whole lot of water because the soil is moist. And we just want to pop that on there until we can see them sprout. Isn't that great? $2.50 I paid for that. I'm going to go on now to do the celery. Alrighty, we're back. What I've done here is I've divided a tray and packed it with soil. Now, one of the things I like about these trays is they have a nubbly bottom, which means that, you know, the soil is actually not sitting on a flat surface that will help it compact down too much. So, what I'm going to plant now is something that has to be surface sown. Because they're so tiny, I'm going to plant onions in this side and celery in this side. I already have my little flags laying down in there. And surface sowing means you just sprinkle them on the top, because you barely cover them, or you don't cover them at all. So this is because the seeds are so tiny. And all I'm going to do is, this is my onion, and I am just going to very gently sprinkle some onion seeds all over the surface of this. And then I closed my vermiculite too fast. Then I'm going to do the celery on the other side, and then I'm just going to give them a light water and cover them with a bit of vermiculite. And that will give them some protection, but it won't bury them. It'll let them have what they need. Now, oh, these are really tiny. These are like sand. And if you're planting a lot of something that is really, really tiny like this, like look at this, it's like sand almost. Okay? What you may want to do is mix this with an ounce shot glass of dry, fine sand, shake it up, and then it'll help you to evenly sow it, and you won't have to cover it. But I'm just going to scatter my celery seeds. These are a lot smaller than the celery seeds you buy for seasoning, that's for sure. That's a lot actually, and I have quite a bit left over. It's the same with the onions. So I'm going to actually reseal and vacuum seal those for next year. Now, I'm going to get a little bit of water. Now, it is best to mark these ones before you plant them so that you know which side is which. This is our onions. Now, this soil mixture is pretty, it's not even really soil. It's peat moss and compost and vermiculite and eggshell and bone meal and all sorts of wonderful stuff. But it's already moist. But I'm just going to make sure that the seeds are moist. There we go. And we're just going to take a little bit of vermiculite, and we're just going to sprinkle that on top. Just a light kind of blanket to keep the seeds aerated but warm. All right, now there is our onion and our celery. I'm going to go put these on my window shelf. I bought a little greenhouse last year, and I actually just use it for the shelves. I don't actually use the zippered cover unless I put it out into the porch in the beginning of May to harden them up. But that's where I'm going to put my plants, and when I have these 2 trays over there and we're going to start our peppers, I'll be right back. Now we're going to plant our peppers. Now, I don't know how well you can see it, but I have a pink paper divider around only 4 blocks, because those are my cayenne peppers, are going to be planted in hangers by my tomatoes. Uh-oh, I planted 2 in the wrong place. There. There is our cayenne pepper. Now I just got to make 2 fresh blocks for my green peppers, where I accidentally planted the wrong thing. I guess my little paper divider should have been a little bit higher. The more pressure you put on these blocks when you're making them, the tighter the soil. But the soil never gets over compacted because of the vermiculite. Oh, there's my telephone. We'll be back when I have these covered up. Now we're just going to do a little vermiculite on these puppies, and we'll put these to bed. There are our green, and I probably got way too many green peppers here, but I've got local family that'll probably, you know, want a pepper plant or two if I have too many. You can always share, you can always swap. All right, we'll be back when we do the cabbage. We're going to plant our cabbage now, and I don't know how well you can see this, but I only have like 13 of these seeds, and they are really, really tiny. So I'm going to try my best to get 1 in every block and hope they all grow, because 13 heads of cabbage is just about pretty much what I grow for canning. This is, even the bag is tiny. They are so small. And I really hope these grow, because I'm telling you folks, I paid probably $2 for 13 seeds. Now, how are we going to do this? We'll go around the outside edge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now, I'm going to give these a little bit of water, and when it comes to these soil blocks, especially if your seeds are really tiny, because like cabbage, I usually would put 2 or 3 in each soil block. And because I have so few, I want to give every seed a chance. But I don't want to pour water directly on these, because the seed may just run out with the water. So with these trays, something like this, especially since I don't have all the soil blocks packed tightly in here, I'm going to put some water in the bottom. And these will act like a sponge and work their way up. I'll be back. We'll do an update later with these, and I have some herb and medicinal plants I'm going to be starting as well later on. And there they are, folks. Our peppers, our tomatoes, our cabbage, our celery, and our onions all started. They're not getting a whole lot of direct sun right now, because this is a southeast facing window and it's afternoon, so the sun's moving across the sky. Anyway, this is the Mrs. Wolfie from our half-acre homestead saying, isn't spring wonderful? You know, I know it's not spring yet, but the promise of new life, it's just amazing, isn't it? Anyway, take care, and we'll see you when I go to plant some medicinal herbs. Bye-bye.